I did a piece of research 2 years ago now called Space Matters. And what that piece of research did was explore how instrumenting the workplace could really help drive productivity through employee well-being. You'll know this way better than me. But I wanted to sort of understand how the physical space really shapes how people work and how people feel about where they work. I started to get into things like lighting. Green lighting could encourage concentration. Orange lighting gives you a mood boost. Blue is better for productivity, and so on. And I started to think about these wacky ideas where you could, walk into an office and it would automatically read what you needed by actually analyzing your biorhythms through an app on your phone. Then it started getting a little bit creepy. I thought, well, you don't really want, the workplace to know exactly how you're feeling about your boss when you sit down and, open up the laptop. But it did get me thinking about how you use some of these sensors to understand movement and temperature. And you can sort of understand how these sorts of technologies and these sorts of ideas could help us reopen and make our workplaces safer. Do you have any ideas on that at all, or any comments on that at all?
Yeah, I'd say first, I don't think your ideas were that wacky. I think you're spot on in that there is a role for technology in keeping us safe and healthy in buildings. In the book, we talk about this idea of always needing to take the pulse of the building, right? Think about when you go to the doctor's office. What do they always do? No matter what your ailment, they take your pulse, they check your temperature, they take your blood pressure, right? These are indicators of human physiological performance. We need to do the same for our buildings and taking the pulse of the building. So I like the idea. In fact, we should be moving to this where we're constantly measuring indicators of building performance. In the book, we talk about these as health performance indicators. Businesses track KPIs, key performance indicators. We like health performance indicators, or HPIs. So I'll give it really specific here. Higher ventilation rates lead to better worker productivity and cognitive function, and dilute the air of airborne viral particles. Okay, how do you know ventilation's working? Well, one thing you could do is use a real-time sensor to measure carbon dioxide. So we're the source of carbon dioxide inside, the majority, some from outdoors, and you can measure CO2 in real time as a proxy or as an indicator of the ventilation rate. In that way, you can be sure that your building is always performing at the optimal level. Because the reality is we design buildings one way and we ignore them and forget about them, and they change over time. So the only way to know you and that you're performing at your best, a building, is to measure these things in real time and then correct them quickly if they're off. So your idea of, walking in, demand control ventilation, sensors responding to the environment, changing the environment as necessary is spot on. It's the merging of smart buildings with healthy buildings.